There was a lot of speculation going on about winning the toss and batting first, what the team combination would look like. Take three seamers, a pink ball, and day-night conditions. They will swing. All said and done, India surprised of people by taking three spinners and just two seamers. And we know what happened at the end of day one's play. Now, as we review the day one, we'll be discussing what happened, what could have happened, and what will happen. Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Uncommentary, where we share our common and uncommon opinions with you. With me, as usual, is my friend Narayanan. Narayanan, I'll bring you into a discussion. Yep, I'll get to that. I'll get to that. Okay, so I can see that Narayanan is raring to share his opinion, his feedback about game on the day one end. Let's start with the toss and England's performance. Your 2 cents.
I guess along with the renaming of the stadium, they forgot to develop the pitch. 13 wickets fell on the opening day of a 5-day test match. I mean, that is kind of a dampener to the events that folded out. But yeah, a
Why would
good
that
toss to
be?
win.
Isn't that a good thing? 13 wickets fell on the first day. Such a delight. Bowler's feast, I would say.
Oh, definitely. But you wouldn't want a test match to end within 3 days, right? You want it
Oh,
to go the
not
distance
at
of
all. Mhm.
up to 5 days. You don't want it to end on a fourth day by lunch or something, which has been kind
Mhm.
of what is happening over the last two test matches. The second
Mhm.
one was predominantly a better performance compared to the first. But
Mhm.
yeah, compared to England's performance yesterday, it was quite a sad state of affairs. Not so much for an Indian fan because they would have really loved it for dismissing them to the lowest test total of 112. But yeah, I mean, I think England went on the back foot. They didn't recover from that second test, and they didn't know whether to come it forward or play back. And if you look at the highlights, it's the ball didn't spin much, but they didn't. They played for the spin. They missed the straighteners. They missed the sliders, and Aksar again another five for 6 wickets this time in his second consecutive innings. So he's on a roll, and Ashwin is storming towards 400.
Yeah, true. And what a day for Akshar Patel. Wicket of his first ball. How delighted he would be.
Oh, I'm sure you'd be as delighted as Siraj when he got first of his first delivery as well. So
Yes, true.
some beautiful things are happening.
Yes, and Ishan Sharma playing his 100th Test match, so he'll be excited. He would want a good performance, a good show. What do you make of the Pacers in this match? Do you feel they stand any chance against the spinners at all?
To be honest, seeing Bumrah completely ineffective and Ishan just getting 1 wicket out of the 10 kind of shows that it's the Pacers have literally nothing apart from the initial 3-4 overs wherein they may get a wicket or two. But being a pink ball under lights is a different ball game altogether. And you could see how Anderson was literally testing Shubham Gill and Rohit last evening with the ball seaming, and there was a couple of drop catches of Kohli as well of Anderson again, and Jofra Archer, which is nippy pace, was testing, and you could see how that's the reason why Shubman Gill was slow on his full shot, which took the top edge and an easy catch at square leg. So yeah, I mean, as a pacer during the day, the first two sessions, it'll be kind of a very ineffective session. But under lights, that's when the Pacers would relish and smack the lips. So
That actually is a good segue to my next question. Shubman Gill was not his usual self that we know. He's usually that blistering Seva kind of destructive form. Yesterday, he was playing a watchful game. Was it again because of the seamers attack that the English bowlers maintained on him, maintained the pressure, and then he eventually played that miscued pull hook shot?
Oh, Oh, no, not at all. It's his debut pink ball test, actually. He missed the Adelaide pink ball test because he was not in the team. Prithvi Shaw was partnering Mayank in the opening slot. So it is his first pink ball test, and to come under lights on the opening day itself, I'm sure everyone would be tentative, him being a rookie. So you definitely not comfortable with the Pacers and the light condition with the pink ball. So I'm not surprised, but yeah, he did hang around for a bit, but yeah, not long.
Take a bit of a time to hit his first boundary. And Rohit and Shubman were very watchful in their opening stand where they started the innings. So India finished this day one, at 99 for three. A bit of a flurry of wickets to fall towards the end of the night. Going into day two, what do you feel should India's batting approach be?
Our batting approach should be similar to what we started off the second test as. Rohit has to start attacking. Rahane has to give him the anchor, has to play the anchor role, and
Mhm.
after him would come in Pant, Ashwin, Washi. So we need to bat deep, and we need to take as many runs, especially in the first two sessions, because the ball is about 25 overs approximate into India's innings. So the first two sessions with the sun bearing down would be easy sessions to bat on, and India must capitalize on this before the lights come back on for the last session, wherein the new ball will also be available for the English, and yeah, it'll be a tricky session to navigate for the Indians.
Yep. I will like to digress just for a moment because you mentioned one important gentleman from that name, Bat Deep, Washington Sundar. He was not required to bowl yesterday because Akshar Patel and Ravichandra Ashwin, yeah, played such beautifully and bowled such beautifully. Some of the wickets that, especially the bowl that Ravichandra Ashwin got, oh, I was watching it over and over again on the replay.
The one of Pope, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a beauty. Just think of, you take that bold of Pope into perspective with the other two LBW dismissals. When you're watching it live, that seemed like bold in itself. You just
Yes.
couldn't hear the ball hitting the stump. It had
True.
everything else.
Mm.
So yeah, beautiful sliders and completely foxed up by English batsman.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. So we'll get back to our earlier discussion of the Indian batting approach. So you reckon India should be batting deep, batting sensibly,
Yeah,
and pile up a huge score?
batting sensibly with a aggressive approach. That is what I see, because we have about two sessions before as the new ball and the third and final session under lights kick in. So
Mhm.
our initial approach should be, since Rohit has been set, yeah, start attacking, and Rani playing the anchor role, and maybe Washington playing a very crucial 85 type of innings at the fag end to give some back to the tail before
Yeah,
the actual tail comes out here.
true. What is a good score on this pitch, Narayan?
Uh, Interesting. I would say anything, if India can reach something like 250 to 300, I think it should be enough with the
You
present
reckon?
situation.
Okay. I would be a bit bold on this. I would say India would get easily to 350 or 400. I may be
Okay.
wrong, but that's what the speciality of this series is, uncommon. So I would say India would get into 350 or
So you
400.
expect Rohit or Rahane to hit a century today?
Even if they don't hit a century, a couple of these blokes, Rahane, Rohit, and we have Rishabh Pant and Washington Sundar following, hit good 60 odd runs, and you see the score suddenly, the match drift away from the opposition there, and you end up piling up a decent score. And on this pitch, I would say bat till tomorrow, maybe, and get about 350 to 400. And then I don't see any reason that India should bat four again. So that brings us to our next section of this episode, which is Q&A. So Narayan, my question to you is, there's a prolonged discussion between the captain, the vice captain, and the umpire, Ben Stokes, Joe Root, and the umpire, discussing the catch, where it was later said it was a bum ball, or not much evidence to prove that it was taken cleanly. And Joe Root was absolutely livid.
So see, it's kind of, it's a gray area because Stokes claims that he's got the catch, but uh, no one went for the review. Gill had started to work when the umpires started to consult amongst themselves, and they said, let's take the decision of the third umpire, and the soft signal was given out. Now, for a soft signal to be overturned by a third umpire, there needs to be conclusive evidence that the catch had been dropped. Here in this case, yes, there have been so many instances, right, where the fingers are underneath the ball and the ball will show that bounce up. Doesn't mean that the ball has hit the grass. But in this case, you could see that the fingers were not completely under the ball. And the third umpire felt that there's conclusive evidence that it's completely not taken cleanly. So he had to overturn the decision.
Which is really strange.
Yeah, which is what is strange because
when you compare it to the earlier one. Yeah.
The thing is, when you compare that to something like a Rishabh Pant catch, which was kind of overturned by the third umpire at SCG, I think, where it was a catch running backwards, and when the ball came, where the ball came, and you could see that his hands were like this when he cupped the ball, and the third umpire took a call that there was no way that he could have got his hands underneath the ball, and the ball would have definitely bounced within the gloves, so that cannot be given as a caught out catch. So there are so many instances like this. You can't just draw a line, you can't draw a rule, but I can understand why, because after being shot out, bundled out for 112, they really needed to make an early inroad, and India was 0 for 0 at that point of time. So it would have been a superb start. So that kind of hurt them.
What I was saying was, especially when you compare it to an earlier incident in the same match where the soft decision was given as out, and Cheteshwar Pujara was the man in question here, but that clearly showed, especially from the last video from the stump cam, where it proves that it actually bounced on his hands. So if there is no conclusive evidence, then what the on-field umpire's decision, original soft decision was, it should have been continued with that. That is what, true. And the match would have been totally at a different level than maybe 0 for 1, 5 for 2. You never know.
Another point is why English were kind of miffed is because the decision came out very spontaneously by the third umpire, unlike looking at various angles. It's just one angle and he had made up his mind. I'm not saying that he could have not tried or he has checked or not, but it was not shown on the big screen. Whereas when it comes to an India catch taking a wicket of an English batsman, they look at various angles and slowly and steadily taking the time. Even the Rohit stumping of by folks, I literally thought it was out. But when they slowed it down to such an extent, you could see that the shoe was slightly inside the crease.
Very little fraction of that shoe was.
My initial reaction was he was out. So you could see where the angst is coming from. That said, I'm surprised why no one is talking about dissent towards umpires, what Root and Broad and Stokes have done yesterday to Menon and Anil Chaudhary is exactly what Kohli did in the last test, right? And people are saying, oh, he should be banned a test, he should be given further 2 demerit points and docked 50% of his match fees. This is completely unsportsmanlike and blah, blah, blah. But no one is talking about the English behavior by Root, Stokes and Broad of last evening. But yeah, it's okay. I think they're still talking only about the pitch. And that's where I think they've lost the mental game.
Some key points that you put forward, Narayan. I'm really impressed. Okay, so second question. James Anderson, where do you see him in this series and beyond?
He is crucial to their bowling attack. England is just going through a different strategy of rotational and resting of players. So you can't predict whether uh, an X player or a Y player would form part of the next test or not, or a next series. But yeah, he's very much in their plans moving forward.
Yep.
Yeah, he was unfortunate not to get Kohli's wicket, which was grasped by Pope, which was a beautiful ball which shot up, and Kohli tried to leave it, but was a little late, and it would have been a good
Yep.
catch, it would have been a good wicket. And Anderson and Kohli, there's a nice battle going on, and it would have continued. But yeah, you
Yeah.
could see his disappointment when he's trying hard. The pink ball isn't doing as much as what a Duke's ball does under lights in England or a Kookaburra does in Australia. But
Yep.
the SG ball is just second in its uh, playing time. And yeah, I think it's a learning curve for every player in India as well.
Yep.
So Dev, I have a question for you.
Yep.
What do you think should be, or what do you think could be England's strategy moving into day two of this test? Because for all you know, this may move away from their grip at the soonest if they just take even a session easy.
Yes. So just like we saw yesterday, India were one up on the session count. We had 2 sessions to us and 1 to England, with the third one, which was to England, where they took 3 wickets at the end of the day. For England to have a good bounce back today, they have to make sure Rohit Sharma and Ajinkya Rahane are back at the pavilion as soon as possible. How they're going to do it? The first and most important is at the beginning of the day, Rohit Sharma and Ajinkya Rahane will not have their feet moving that much as they would expect. So if I were the captain, I would have 1 seam and 1 spin option. So Jack Leach from one end, and Jofra Archer rotated with James Anderson. And then after a few overs with Jack Leach, I would switch on Joe Root, because he can spin the ball. He's a good turner of the ball as well, and he's a smart cricketer. So that would what I feel should the English team's approach be. And if they don't want to have a huge lead, they have to make sure that they bowl Jack Leach a lot, 20, 30 overs from him, at least.
Another cracker of a day coming up. I can't even
Absolutely.
wait for the day two to start, and I'm so happy,
Yeah.
so glad that it's a day-night test.
On that note, we'll say goodbye and we'll see you tomorrow. Hope we have a cracker of the day, as Narayan said. Yeah.
Bye-bye. Take care.